In the early 1980s in Sweden, Ingemar Pihlgren, a member of the Pihlgren family, which was a local Ursus dealer in the Swedish market, came up with the idea of developing his own tractor tailored to the needs of Swedish farmers. His project, called SWED-TRAC, was to be a new hope for the local tractor market, which just a few years earlier had been left without a single domestic tractor manufacturer following the takeover of the tractor branch of the Volvo BM by Finnish brand Valmet. With many years of experience in selling and servicing Ursus tractors, Ingemar and his brothers set their sights on creating a brand new tractor based on parts from the Polish heavy-duty Ursus series. This project evolved into something much bigger than just an attempt to modernize the simple Polish tractor, and unfortunately, it significantly exceeded its inventors' capabilities. The dream, however beautiful it might have been, was quickly verified by the brutal market reality. Despite political backing, multi-million grants and preferential loans, the project turned out to be a colossus on clay legs and collapsed just a few years after production began, leaving behind multi-million debts that have never been recovered. In today's episode, I'm going to tell you the true story of SWED-TRAC, the last Swedish tractor brand. I would like to dedicate this episode to all my Swedish and Polish viewers, as these tractors are especially close to their hearts. My name is Matheo, welcome to my channel. I am a farmer and tractor enthusiast from Poland, introducing you to this amazing world of tractors and heavy machinery. If you like my videos, be sure to leave a thumb up and subscribe to my channel in order not to miss any of my new videos. I also invite you to join our Facebook group Matheo Machinery for more interesting tractor content. And now, without further ado, let's jump into the video. SWED-TRAC's story began in the mid-1970s. It was then the family company, Pihlgren Tractor AB, located in the village of Arvika, not far from the Norwegian border, was operating, selling tractors and machinery for agriculture and forestry. The company was run by three brothers, Ingemar, Kiel and Ake. In the early 1970s, they became an authorized dealership of the little-known Polish tractor manufacturer Ursus. In the mid-1970s, Polish Ursus was expanding abroad, appearing on numerous export markets. Polish tractors were especially popular in the Scandinavian countries thanks to new heavy-duty series produced in cooperation with the Czechoslovakian Zetor. What the Polish manufacturer won the hearts of Scandinavian farmers was a great price-quality ratio. Ursus was just a good value for the money. Scandinavians fell in love with Polish tractors for their simplicity and high power at a really low price, and it shouldn't be surprising that in 1975 Ursus was among the top-selling new tractors there. Foreign competition caused problems for local manufacturers. After many years, at the end of the 1970s, Swedish Volvo BM sold its tractor division to Finnish Valmet, which marked the end of the last Swedish tractor brand. It was around this time that Ingemar came up with the idea of creating his own tractor brand called SWED-TRAC, which was simply a shortcut for Swedish tractor. As the Pihlgrens were Ursus dealers at that time and had a great knowledge and experience with these tractors, Ingemar chose the well-known Ursus 1204 Turbo as the base for his project. Ursus tractors were already quite popular in Scandinavia. In addition, Ingemar, as a dealer of these tractors, was very familiar with the design of the heavy-duty Ursus series and was aware of its greatest advantages as well as its problems. Therefore, it shouldn't be surprising that he decided to build his first tractor on the basis of the transmission system of the Ursus 1204 Turbo. The project involved using a Polish gearbox and rear axle and coupling them together with 167 horsepower Swedish-made Scania DN8 engine. This coupling was made possible by creating a special adaptation, a plate enabling the engine to be connected to the transmission body. The gearbox of the first model of SWED-TRAC had a 3 main speeds plus the 2-stage reducer and the hydraulic torque multiplier, which gave a total of 12 forward gears and 6 reverse gears. That was one of the biggest drawbacks of Ursus transmission, the small number of gears, which SWED-TRAC unfortunately inherited from Ursus. The cab also came from Ursus, but its interior was significantly upgraded. However, this didn't change the fact that the design of the cab frame itself was only decent. For those times, it was quite spacious and comfortable for the operator, but the visibility to the machines behind was terrible comparing to other tractors, and that's because large distance between the operator's seat and the rear window. From the technical side, apart from the power unit, the first generation of SWED-TRAC did not differ much from the Ursus 1204 Turbo, but it had quite a lot of details and accessory equipment, which you couldn't find in the original Ursus. The whole idea behind Ingemar Pihlgren's design of the SWED-TRAC was based on that they were to be custom-made machines, a bit like today's Valtra Unlimited Studio tractors. Each tractor could actually be tailored to the individual user's needs and equipped with basically whatever anyone wanted. The tractor was first presented to the general public back in 1983 at the Elmia Trade Fair, where the machine gained a lot of attention as the only Swedish tractor in production today. The mood was really positive, so less than 2 years later, in 1985, the tractor went into serious production. In the first year of production, the Pihlgren family was planning to produce 50 units of SWED-TRAC tractors, and this number was to grow year by year, as the following year another 150 tractors were planned to go to farmers. Cooperation was also established with the Swedish mining company Boliden Mineral, for which a special version of the tractor for mining purposes was developed. The developers of SWED-TRAC hoped to gain a stable customer who would regularly order large numbers of tractors. The plans were ambitious and considerable hype was generated around the project. Ingemar also managed to attract several sources of funding for SWED-TRAC's development. Serious institutions like banks and hedge funds invested a lot of money in the project. SWED-TRAC was supposed to be a perfect investment, a simple, reliable business in a stable industry. At least that's how the project was presented to investors. However, the reality from the beginning was a bit different than the one created in the media. SWED-TRAC from behind the scenes was quite a cottage industry. Tractors were literally assembled in a barn on one of the surrounding farms. When the factory was visited by surprised journalists from the daily newspaper Bilexpressen in the fall of 1985, only 10 people worked on the tractor production and 1 tractor a week left the workshop walls. This was somewhat at odds with the image of SWED-TRAC that its owners had built up in the media. Shortly thereafter, in December 1985, the daily Dagens Industri, the same newspaper that a few years earlier had hailed SWED-TRAC as the Formula One of the tractor world, published an article about the arrest of the CEO of Västra Värmland Sparbank for making false statements in the financial documents of SWED-TRAC project. This scandal was about completely different distribution of money than declared in the documents. The money was to go over entities and be used for purposes other than financing the production of SWED-TRAC. The financing was withheld, but another bank saved the company from bankruptcy. Later, the Swedish pension fund also invested 5 million Swedish crowns in SWED-TRAC. However, this didn't save the company from bankruptcy. Meanwhile, when the first generation of SWED-TRAC tractors was rolling out from the assembly line, Ingemar Pihlgren was already thinking about the next generation. The production of SWED-TRAC Model 2 began later the same year. The SWED-TRAC Model 2 had its premiere at the annual Fall Plowing Championships. Second generation of Swedish tractor was no revolution. The engine as well as the drivetrain remained the same as in Generation 1, but several significant changes were made to the new model. First and foremost, the most striking change was a new cab, produced by the Swedish manufacturer Klippan. This one was significantly better than the Ursus one. First of all, it was much taller, more spacious, better glazed and less noisy. The operator had a swivel seat and armrest with electronic controls, through which the linkage, hydraulics and power takeoff could be controlled via solenoid valves. A special double-acting linkage and new hitch console were developed for the SWED-TRAC Model 2. This hydraulic system was really extensive, as there was, for example, the possibility of independent control of each arm or several modes of 3-point linkage operation. The front axle was also changed from the original Ursus one to a ZF structure. The new ZF axle had a locking differential and was equipped with disc brakes. Overall, there were quite a few changes, but the main core remained the same: a Scania DN8 engine and an Ursus drivetrain. Unfortunately, all these electronic add-ons and mechanical upgrades significantly increased the construction cost of the tractor, making the SWED-TRAC Model 2 quite expensive comparing to other tractor brands. For comparison, the original Ursus 1204 Turbo cost about 258,000 Swedish crowns in 1986. At the same time, the second generation of SWED-TRAC cost 426,000, when the cost of such a case, 1455 XL, was 337,000 Swedish crowns. This was quite a high price compared to other tractors on the market at the time. However, despite this, there were interested customers willing to buy the new Swedish tractor, so I guess the company managed to come out ahead after all. Well, that's precisely what it did not quite do. In August 1986, the company again teetered on the brink of bankruptcy. Tractor production was halted and all payments for components were stopped. Production costs turned out to be far higher than the creators had anticipated. Tractor delivery dates was dragging on and customers began to back out of purchase. In addition, the new design gave the creators many problems, mainly chillhood faults, which also compounded costs. In the fall of 1986, Pihlgren Tractor AB declared insolvency, but as it would turn out, this was not the final end of the SWED-TRAC. The bankruptcy was a strategic move. What was saved from creditors, including real estate, was incorporated in 1987 into a new company, SWED-TRAC AB, through which the Pihlgren brothers would continue tractor production. UJ Trading of Lindesberg became the majority shareholder in the new company, with rest of the shares going to the Pihlgren brothers. The plan was ambitious. By the end of 1988, design a completely new tractor without making any compromises. We are talking about the third generation of SWED-TRAC tractor, also known as the Super SWED-TRAC. The tractor was designed completely from scratch and basically had nothing to do with Ursus anymore. The engine and transmission were supplied by Swedish Scania. The front axle and cab remained unchanged from the second generation model. It is worth noting that the Super SWED-TRAC had an engine designated DN9, which came in two versions: a naturally aspired one with power of 170 HP or a turbocharged one with 225 horsepower. The Pihlgrens planned to produce 50 units of the new generation of tractors in the first year. However, this turned out to be unrealistic. In the end, not even one complete tractor was built. The machines were sold incomplete in parts to farmers who already had SWED-TRACs, and those put them together themselves. The new company declared bankruptcy later that year, and that was the final end of a SWED-TRAC brand. The aftermath of SWED-TRAC's collapse turned out to be a high-profile scandal involving Västra Värmland Sparbank. The bank lost between 10 to 13 million Swedish crowns on financing the project. The money was never recovered. The Lånkakarfonden Trust Fund also lost out on SWED-TRAC's bankruptcy. The scandal affected the entire banking system. As a result, regulations for financing and obtaining credit for companies were tightened in Sweden. A total of 58 SWED-TRAC tractors were made. About 20 was imported as used one to Poland, where they work till this day. Ingemar Pihlgren is now 73 years old and still runs his own tractor garage in Arvika, where he repairs tractors, especially Ursus, Zetor and SWED-TRAC. Today's SWED-TRAC in Sweden is considered a local legend and one of the icons of Swedish mechanization. And that would be all in today's episode. I wonder, what do you think about the SWED-TRAC project? Please share your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. I also invite you to check out my other social media accounts, including Instagram, Facebook and TikTok, where I post more tractor and farming machinery content. I also invite you to join our Facebook group, Matheo Machinery, for more interesting content from the world of tractors and heavy machinery. And now, thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye!